This week, episode 352 of Stogie Geeks. This is the time of year where, historically, even when I own the cigar shop, retailers should really get excited. And retailers should also be prepared for the influx of questions and people who have the opportunity to go out there and smoke cigars. We are going to talk about the most sought out list in the premium cigar industry. I'm talking about Cigar Aficionado's top 25 of 2020 has been just announced. The number one stick came out yesterday. They did a revealing for the top 10 going in backwards order. And then today they released the rest of the sticks, 11 through 25. And now today here on Stogie Geeks, we have the opportunity to talk about the top 25 of 2020. It's been a crazy year for the industry. You know we have commentary. And I thought it'd be a great idea to enjoy the number one stick and have some drinks. Stogie Geeks, episode 352 starts right now.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. Welcome everyone to the Stogie Geek Show. Joe and I are already silly.
Oh yeah.
Joe Josepa, aka Joe Hollywood, is here with me in studio.
I'm fired up. So we also have remote Drew, who is remote over in Texas. Look at you. You got some Stogie Geek swag going on in the background.
Got my banner.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm all set up for the Stogie Geek mobile lounge.
Confidence. Confidence isn't walking into a room with your nose in the air, thinking you're better than anyone else. It's walking into a room and not having to compare yourself to anyone in the first place.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Welcome to episode 352 of Stogie Geeks. I'm your host, Joe Josepa. Today, we get the opportunity to talk about and list top 25 of 2020 cigars of the list that has been brought out from Cigar Aficionado. In my opinion, it still is the most sought out list here in the industry. From my experience in owning a retail shop, it's also been the week of preparing for the influx of some new customers, you know, who come in and want to try and seek out, of course, at least the top five. This was always the time of the year that when I owned a retail shop, I would jump in and make sure that we can at least get some product in. With that, it was always tough to pivot. And now with technology, it happens so fast, right? So maybe by the time the Stogie Geek listener gets to hear this podcast, you might already know what the top 25 is. But at least we can have the opportunity to talk about it, because no matter what with technology, no matter where it goes with video casts, podcasts, etc., website presence, internet presence, Cigar Aficionado does have that covered there for sure. So I am going to cut my cigar of the year and celebrate. So if you already know what it is, then you know what I'm smoking, but that will be revealed as well. And I want to talk about some commentary and have some drink there, and we'll talk about that there. Stogie Geeks, email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com if you have any thoughts and commentary, either during the show or after the show, you know, about the list, right? I still get excited for the list. I mean, you know, having my background in television and radio, I'm still a sucker for countdowns. You know, when they do the top 100 countdowns of, you know, 2020 or whatever the year is and all of that, I still tune in. I don't know. I think it's fascinating. You know, and it's also a good gauge if you go and look back, you know, in previous years, and you know, you can kind of see like which companies hang around and which companies have came in hot and heavy, and which other companies that you know have shown either progression or degression, right? There too. So super cool. And without further ado, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Hold on. Okay. I think I'll count backwards from 10 to 1 and then reveal 11 through. I don't know. I think it'll be that's the way it's gonna go down. So again, Cigar Aficionado's top cigars of 2020. What can we say about 2020, right? When I ended the show last calendar year, we reflected on what 2020 has been. Some shops have been closed. They were obviously closed for the initial 90 days of the pandemic hitting. There's been a lot of, you know, a drama surrounding that. Some states are under restriction. You know, the business restrictions and all of that, they're semi-open. They're not open fully. They obviously can't operate under capacity. So it's been a really crazy year, not only for the retailers, but it's also been a crazy year for the manufacturers, right? They were shut down for a little bit. I've often said that when it comes to inventory, we're going to feel those effects here in Q4, which we have. There's been some inventory stuff and back orders there. But I think they managed to put out a really good list this year. And to be fully candid, I'm very impressed with this year's selections over last year's. We do this every year here on Stogie Geeks, at least since I've been here. So for the past 3 years, we've at least took the opportunity to review. So I think it's cool. It's super cool. And again, you get a chance to gauge. Number 10 was the Henry Clay Warhawk Corona. Now, I enjoy the Henry Clays, right? Super old brand, been around for a while. A big online presence, you know. So what can you say about that? Like in regards to the retailers, that they might not really carry some of those, but it's rated number 10. It's super tasty. You can still find some super tasty stuff online for sure. That was the Henry Clay Warhawk Corona. Number 9, I was introduced to this stick probably, it was fall, so I'm going to go with late September. The Rocky Patel number 6 Corona. I went to a shop and saw it lying around. It was a relatively newer shop here, and I saw it lying around. I was like, I don't know, you know. And to be quite candid, I had the Decade first. I'm a sucker for the Decade. I really like that stick. It's been in the mix too for a while here on the list. And when I had this stick, I was pretty impressed. I believe I spoke about it on Sticks of the Week segment here on Stogie Geeks. If I didn't, I'll go back and check and rekindle my notes and do a review for sure. That was Rocky Patel number 6 Corona. I like it within that actual size as well. They do have a Robusto and Toro size. I'm a fan of the smaller sizes. I think you get a little bit more flavor from that, so that was what I went with. Number 8 was to no surprise, was the Oliva Series V Melanio. Actual size there was Churchill. Again, I like the smaller size, but Oliva's been around, right? When we go back right quick and just rattle off the 2019 sticks, you know they're going to be in the mix for sure. Number 7, Alec Bradley Gatekeeper Robusto. Super fan. of what Alec and Bradley have came up with, right? Gatekeeper. Remember, just for you Stogie Geeks who are kind of listening, there you have Alec Bradley, and then when you have the Alec and then the ampersand Bradley, those are from the sons, Alec and Bradley, there from the founder, from Alan Rubin over at Alec Bradley Cigar Company. They've come out with some super cool sticks. Gatekeeper was the first one. I'm sorry, it was Blind Faith. Then you had Gatekeeper. They recently came out with the Kintsugi there too. I'm a fan of the Kintsugi and the Blind Faith. Actually have a box of those sitting right here in Stogie Geeks G Unit Studios. It's a pretty good go-to stick for sure. The number 6 was the Joya de Nicaragua Numero Uno La Ambassador. That is an awesome stick. Stogie Geeks, you could try a Joya de Nicaragua in the regular line. They can be a little bit strong. They are ranked medium to full. However, this Numero Uno, it's like they spent very close attention to detail with the blending with this stick. I know there's a couple shops here in the Northeast that do carry it, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. For you Stogie Geeks listeners, that was number 6, the Joya de Nicaragua Numero Uno. Number 5 is the Punch Short the Punch. I mean, Punch has been around forever, right? They've always been around, at least since I've even dabbled in this industry. They're always a player. However, the Punch Short the Punch within this particular stick is a Cuban, right? So obviously we know some of the restrictions that are there, but you know, you got to remember, Cigar Aficionado does not just operate here in the great old US of A. It operates worldwide, and to no surprise, there's obviously some Cubans that get up there within the at least top 5 or top 10. There were a little bit more last year too, and we'll find that out. Number 4 was the La Mission L'Atelier 1959. Again, this stick has been on the shelf for a while, right? At least 5 years off the top of my head that I know of. Definitely, it's one of those like quiet sticks there. I think retailers should work a little harder to turn their customers on to exploring. They also have other La Missions, La Ateliers that are out there with other years. Those are not bad at all, but that 1959 is super tasty. It's a box press. We all know how at least I feel about box presses, right? I kind of shy away from them, but you know, you can get into that stick. It's readily available, and that was the number 4 stick. Number 3, again, I couldn't agree with this list more, right? Number 3, Padron 1964 Anniversary. It's an awesome stick. The anniversary stick is just a classic staple. Plenty of reviews if you go to StogieGeeks.com on this stick, either by myself or previous host. Makes a great gift. You cannot go wrong. I used to smoke this stick a lot until Paul turned me on to the 40th anniversary, which is slightly more expensive, and that is a super cool stick. So if you ever want to treat yourself, get a Patron 40 anniversary. But the 1964 anniversary was number 3. Number 2, Arturo Fluente, the Fluente Opus X Double Robusto. absolutely, positively cannot go wrong with that stick there. Again, sought after, makes a great gift. If you look at the label, there's a whole story about all of the different crest and shields and colors and everything in the label there from Arturo Fuente. There's a whole story to be told there. And you certainly should go and seek out some Opus X's. You will treat yourself. They are slightly expensive for you new Stogie Geeks listeners, but you won't be disappointed for sure with that number 2 stick. And the number 1 stick, I will break down the stick first, and then I will tell you. So we're going to get into what I'm smoking right now, and then we will do that. First of all, the good news is it's not a Cuban, so that's good. Second good news is they're in regular production, so that's good, all right? The wrapper binder filler, the wrapper is a Connecticut Habano. It's from Connecticut, so it's from the USA, right? It's not saying Connecticut representing the lighter shade, right? So you got a Connecticut Habano. The binder is from Ecuador, and the filler is Nicaraguan, to no surprise, right? There, it's I'm smoking it's the Pledge Prequel by EP Carrillo, and it is the number 1 stick. I think it's a good choice. I think it's a super tasty choice. Has some strength, but I think it's really a cigar for everybody, which might bring us to some commentary at the end there too, right? As far as the process. But the EP Carrillo Pledge Prequel is the number 1 stick. Again, filler is Nicaraguan, binder is from Ecuador, wrapper is a Connecticut Habano. I'm smoking it. The ring gauge is a 50. This stick came out around fall of 2020, right? So now it's pretty new on the scene, but if your local retailer carries EP Carrillo, well, I'm sure they will have this now. And if not, I'm sure that they will get it now. And to no surprise, we've interviewed Ernesto Perez here on the show. Talks about the blending process. They're very particular with that, just like Manuel and Noah. Very, very, very careful with the blending, making sure it's balanced. They've had a track record when we go back. I mean, EP Carrillo has been in the top 5 or 3 within the past 3 years. So that says something as well. This cigar really is a cigar for everyone, right? It's kind of got like a soft box press shaped, right? So it's that slightly box press, which I kind of like because I'm a twirler, right? Anyway, you get black pepper and spice right on the tongue, right away as soon as it's there. But when you're about 1 inch 2 in, it really settles in, right? You're gonna get some super cool wood notes out of it, right? It starts out pretty mild, other than the pepper, if that makes sense, right? You get that kind of that initial pepper blast, but it starts out pretty mild there. I did a V cut, of course. It's the cut does make the difference. With my new little fancy cutter, sometimes I've been doing like a guillotine there. I kind of like to stick the knife and do the V cut still. I think it gets more of a build up, and to me, like the smoke production coming, at least the flume coming into the palate, is just a little bit more concentrated for me. That's just me. You get notes of leather for sure, especially towards the end, and you're gonna get kind of like a toasty hay, but with an espresso flavor. But to me, it's kind of not. It's not like a sweet flavor. It's kind of like almost like a bitter flavor, and I think that's the contrast with the pepper, black pepper on the retro hail construction. What can you say with the flat box press, super impressive sticks. It's available in 2 different sizes. You have the 5x50, which is what I'm smoking. They come in boxes of 10, just so you know. And then if you were to go with the bigger size, the 6x52, although that one was not the rated stick of the year, but at least you can get the blend, mess around with it. They have a 6x52. I've had both. Again, I like the smaller stick. Super cool, very tasty, can't go wrong. Now, my question out there for the retailers is probably pretty simple, right? If you didn't carry EP Carrillo, my statement would be, why not? They've been rated within the top 3 for the past couple of years now, consistently. They have to move. Their price point is good. It's not like an Opus X or a Davidoff or a Padron Anniversary. So, you know, something to think about. And I remember, again, when we had the shop, if we were to rewind back, what are we, 14 years ago, it'd be like, oh, wow, we got to get our hands on these. And, you know, I think if they wanted to accomplish that goal, they can do that with the EP Carrillo Pledge. They could do that with the La Mission, La Tellier. They could do that certainly with the Gatekeeper and the Oliva V Milanio, Rocky Patel. And so there's a lot of good sticks that are really, really concentrated within that top 10 for sure. Want to go quick just to keep kind of continuity of the show for those of you who are listening as opposed to watching. If you look at the 2019 list of cigars, certainly it tells a different story for sure. And we are going to get to that in a couple of seconds. Hold on. Come on, squirrel. Internet's running a little bit slow today. All right. So, here we go. So the top 10, I'm just going to do the top 10 of in order from 1 to 10. In order, just to recap so it's fresh in our minds. This is the Cigar Aficionado's 2019 list. You have the number 1 stick was the Aging Room Cuatro Nicaraguan. I was kind of like, very shocked that was picked for number 1 for sure. Number 2 was the Padron Series 1926 number 6. See where we're going here. Number 3 was the Warped Series Grand Reserva 1988 Robusto. I was like, what? That's that, you know, would have never saw that happening. Number 4 was the Cohiba Robusto. Again, Cuban version. So, okay. Number 5 was the Rocky Patel ALR 2nd Edition Toro, which is a pretty cool stick, but I wasn't like crazy about it. Number 6 was the Oliva Series V Lancero. So again, Oliva hanging in that mix for sure. Number 7, the Illusion FNA 10th anniversary. Again, I think that's a great stick. Very, very cool rating. This one I was shocked. The Autor Fluente for number 8, again, 2019. Autor Fluente Opus X Reserva de Chateau, number 8. Really? I thought that certainly should have been higher. Number 9, Tatuaje Novitas, number 1. Okay, sure. We'll go with that. And at number 10 was the H. Upmann 175th anniversary Churchill. So that was your top 10. Looking at the rest of them of 2019, the Espinosa number 4 Habano, I thought should have probably scored higher. Came in at 11. The LFD, the La Flora Dominicana Double Lajero Lancero, came in at number 12. Placencia Alma de Fuego, 13. And you have a Cuban came in at number 14. The Juan Lopez Selección, number 2. Then you have La Roma de Cuba, Punch, and Hoyo de Monterrey, and the list goes on there for 2019. So, you know, the list is kind of like, you know, it is what it is. That's where we're at, right? But this year's, just do a quick recap, right, before I reveal the rest there. Like, the EP Carrillo Pledge, super cool stick. Very, very tasty. In-depth taste as well. So, yeah. You know, Opus X, obviously. Padron, obviously. Right? La Mission, didn't see that coming. That was a sign that's been there for a while, and then you know, it crept up. Then you throw in a Cuban, Hoyo de Nicaragua, Numero Uno. Okay, cool. Alec Bradley Gatekeeper, again, surprise, super cool. Congrats to Alec and Bradley for putting that into the mix there. The Oliva Series V, again, Oliva, they're in there. Rocky Patel, number 6, and then your Henry Clay Warhawk, which, you know, makes some online stuff, but whichever. So that was the top 10. I think it's a little bit more solid this year. Before I go through 11 through 25, they have a process on their site. If you go to cigaraficionado.com and click on top 25, I'm sure it's all over the front page. They have a 4-step process, right? First of all, they take all of the ratings that have had scored the highest over the past year and assemble them together. So these are the ones that have had the highest ratings all of the year round. Then they go out and they have them unbanded so that the tasters don't know what the particular size is. Again, right? Some of the like, what was it? Not last year, in 2018, like the LFD Artesian Bull, right? Like, that's like you can guess what it is. It's so unique, but anyway, that's the process. Step 3, all the top scoring cigars are now smoked, and then they kind of battle each other through multiple rounds, which I think that process has been improved there from their panel, right? And I think from that's how we got to such a in my opinion, a more defined list this year, right? And what I mean by defined, it's like, oh yeah, I can see where, you know, a taster who is doing blind taste test can really appreciate the flavor of what that was, for sure. And again, the new list of top 25 is assembled, and that is their 4-step process. I like the process. I think, again, that critical step at number 3, having them go against each other, you know, if not to get all political, but kind of works that way in a political system, right? You have a primary where you vote for some multiple candidates, and then the winners from that pool now get a chance to battle each other and then go, and then it's all assembled. So who knows? Maybe they read the Constitution. I don't know. All right. So we're going to finish out this list here, and I'm going to continue to enjoy my EP Carrillo Pledge and Scotch whiskey. It's definitely good for the soul. Number 11. This exact stick comes up in my top 3 when either Stogie Geek listeners or friends or people in a cigar shop, and you start talking about cigars and whatnot. What are your favorite Cubans? I've often said Monte Cristo number 2 is my favorite Cuban. I toggle back and forth between the number 11 stick and another stick when it comes to Cuban, but the Boulevard Bellicoso Fino, I mean, super cool stick. If you have any friends that travel, you can get your hands on some. They are really, really super tasty. You won't be disappointed. Anyway, the number 11 is the Boulevard Bellicoso Fino. Number 12, Ashton Virgin Sun-Grown Sorcerer. So it's the Ashton VSG, as we usually say on the streets, right? I kind of agree, but the ESG VSG, my palate, for probably 8 years, they end the same for me, right? They start out and it's like, yes, yeah, and then they kind of just end the same for me. But anyway, if I were a participating in the taste voting round, I would know I'm smoking an Ashton. A Ashton. If you put 5 cigars in front of me, or 10 or 20, and I took 20 days to make that the first stick of the day so that my palate is fresh, I could probably with 94% certainty say that's the Ashton for sure. Again, that's just how my brain works, palate, what I remember. There you go. Number 13, I thought it would score a little bit higher. The Warzone Robusto. This is an awesome stick. I had this stick. I knew where I was. It was given to me and says, hey, this is coming out like in 2 weeks or whichever. Let me know what you think. And I was like, holy cow, this is a really, really good stick. That's by Espinosa. So here in the Northeast, you can see the crazy rep, Nick Goss. Get your hands on some if you are a retailer there for sure. But the Warzone Robusto, again, I've expressed excitement about the Espinosa line. I like the Laranja. I like the Warzone. Certainly like the Comfortably Numb. I know they're all different sticks, so I don't need any hate email saying, what do you mean they're all different? I know they're all different, and sometimes you feel like Oreos and sometimes you feel like Chips Ahoy, right? So that's what that's what the greatness is about, number one, this industry, and number two, experimenting with brands and blends. And when I don't have to review a stick and I go into a shop, I judge it by how I'm feeling that day. You know, what I want and how I think it's going to be on my palate, or if it's new and I'm just dying to try it. So there you go. Anyway, the Warzone Robusto was number 13. Number 14, Casa Torrent 1973 Torpedo. I've had multiple Casa Torrents. I have not had this one yet. I have not seen it anywhere in my travels. However, my travels have been very limited this year, not having had the chance to go down to either Hilton Head, Miami, or upstate New York, trying to stay safe, especially with the little guy at home. So I will seek that out. I know last year I had like 3 or 4 that I went and I seeked out. This is the first one off the list that I let me just review, make sure I'm speaking with integrity. Yep. So it took 14 for top 14 for me not to have even had any experience with that. So I will make notes to get back and at least grab myself at least a 5-pack and do a future review on that. La Roma, number 15, La Roma de Cuba Edición Especial number 1. Yes, take some, have some. Old school stick, classic taste. Won't be disappointed. Number 16, La Vida Gesta. Have not even had that. It's been on my radar to seek this out. I don't know if I'm going on a unicorn mission thus far. If any Stogie Geeks listeners have them and want to trade, it would make my life easier to do that, especially as we are in COVID times. That's the La Vida Gesta. Or the Casa Torrent Series 1973 Torpedo. If you have that one, feel free to email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Camacho, usually in the mix. Been kind of silent in 2019. But anyway, the Camacho Nicaraguan Robusto. Again, in my opinion, I say classic. It's like mini classic, right? It's probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 years old classic, right? Always been in the mix. Camacho's there for sure. The Fonseca, I'm sorry, number 18. Wait, let me stop. 17 was the Camacho Nicaragua Robusto. Number 18 is the Fonseca by my father, Petite Corona. Interesting interesting how these are being rolled out into some of the shops, right? Some of the feedback that I'm getting from at least the customer side is, well, they're different from Fonseca. Well, yes, they are. And that's just the way it works, right? When a company is acquired, things get different. But again, good stick, little mild for my taste there, but I definitely would give it a good rating for sure. Number 19, Placencia Cosecha 146 La Vega. Let me tell you something. We did a whole rollout in 2019. No, I'm sorry. In 2020 here on Stogie Geeks, where we've taken the time, either myself or another Stogie Geek host had reviewed all of the lines from Placencia. My Placencia notes are there. Go to stogiegeeks.com, click on Stogies. You can see that. Often said that is my favorite of the line. I've spent multiple episodes talking about this stick. Comes from the 146th harvest. You get deep, dense smoke out of it. Flavor for days. Pepper. Everything a cigar smoker would want from a medium to full stick there. And even if you wanted to, even if you were new and you had something to eat, definitely a good stick there. A little bit surprised that didn't get a slightly higher rating there, but hey, right? Number 20, 4 Kicks, Kappa Especial Robusto. Super fan of 4 Kicks. Super fan of Crowned Heads. Spoke about that again here on Stogie Geeks. Probably not multiple, but certainly slightly lower than multiple times there. But yeah, 4 Kicks, blended, not too spicy, but very smooth, blended well. I think that you would thoroughly enjoy that. Had that one as well. Highclere Castle, Victorian Toro came in at number 21. I thought that would score a little bit higher, especially when you, at least in top 10, especially when you start getting into some of the lighter brands that historically have made the higher numbers. And we'll do a quick recap of that flavor profile, in my opinion, of the top 25 of this year and last, right before we wrap up. Number 22 is the Romeo and Julietta Reserva Real Nicaraguan Toro. Now, this is interesting, right? Because, you know, Romeo and Julietta, historically known for being from the region, from they are Dominican cigars. They've dabbled into the Nicaraguan, using Nicaraguan tobacco, and you know, we've often talked about that, where the classic facings are who were known from either being from Honduran or Nicaragua, who are now trying to get into that market share from a business perspective and do that. And Romeo and Julietta has really been all over the map with getting into that. You know, some sticks are good, some sticks haven't done well. They've done a collaboration, which I think is doing okay, right? I have to get out there and speak to some more retailers. That I've not actually had this stick, and the only reason why is just to shy away from Romeo and Julietta's first crack at crossing that Nicaraguan blending series. I've had the collaboration one. It's okay. Stogie Geek rating, I'd probably give it a try one, right? Because it's kind of like if you're smoking the La Aurora, right? And let's go with the 107 or the 115, right? Two completely different smokes from the Dominican Republic, right? La Aurora has been around since what, 1903. Well known from that. Then Manuel blends this Nicaraguan blend, and I've had mixed emotions from from consumers about this. Like, I really don't like it. Like, you know, it doesn't taste like La Aurora. I'm like, it's not supposed to. It's from a different region. But the fact that the blender has made it ultra smooth and has made it be able to coexist within its profile, I think is a phenomenal feat, because the characteristics of Nicaraguan tobacco, as well as Dominican tobacco and Honduran, right, are extremely different, right? They're very, very different characteristic wise. And, you know, if you've been smoking cigars for a while, when I say a while, doesn't really matter as long as you're taking notes, you should be able to identify at least that region of, hey, I really think that this is a Nicaraguan, or I really think that this is a Dominican. To me, there's a sweetness that comes with the Nicaraguan, and the spicy pepper blast, you know, white pepper usually is a flag for me to say, okay, this is within, not only is it in my wheelhouse, but I kind of gravitate towards that, and not only do I do that, but other listeners and consumers do that as well, because clearly there has been a Nicaraguan movement when you look at creativity of cigars and doing that. And if you didn't believe me or any other podcast or any other magazine, all you got to do is go back to the number 22 stick, the Romeo and Julietta Reserva Real Nicaraguan Toro, right? If they've been dealing with their blend for well over 100 years, and now all of a sudden, hey, let's start to experiment with this type of stuff there too. Same thing with La Aurora, same thing with other companies. So hats off to what they're doing over there in Nicaragua. It's super cool, and they keep pushing the blends. And there's tons of sensation to be had when you're experimenting with tobacco, for sure. Anyway, a couple more left. Number 23, old school, La Flor Dominicana, 1994 Mambo. Go for it. Classic stick there. I kind of agree with that number wise, right? It's been a while. But when you're looking at that stick compared to, say, an Oliva V, been around for a while as well. But Oliva V kind of gets those kind of top 10 ratings. Just something to think about, right? Point Made? I don't know. I'm not too sure. I think I made my point better on number 22. Anyway, number 24. Wouldn't be a countdown if we didn't talk about Drew, right? Herrera Esteli Miami Short Corona Gorda. This is a great stick. Now, for you Stogie Geeks listeners who are watching and listening, Herrera Esteli, they have all different color labels. This is the black label, right? It's the Miami version. So you got the Herrera Esteli Miami Short Corona Gorda. Go and get these. All right. I've had these when they were being introduced when they came out to a retailer, and they were like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, you should bring these in. They're super tasty, very very tasty. Complex when it comes to flavor, but not spice. Hope that makes sense." And number 25, I have had, but not this version, right? It is a Cuban. It is the Ramon Alones number 2 Edition Limitada 2019. I will repeat that. The Ramon Alones number 2 Edition Limitada 2019. And that wraps up your top 25 of the year for 2020. Looking at the profiles right quick, I said I would mention that right before we take off, right? So I'm in 2019 now, right? Looking at the profile here of just the top, say 15, right? Placencia is in there, Loma de Cuba. You know, you've had some, I guess you could say, not so stapled, but really tasty cigars in the mix. What I mean by that, just picking them out, the Warped number 3, the Rocky Patel. You know, I'm not going to be cliche and talk about the Padron and Fuentes, right? The Tatuaje, Illusion. Maybe go with the V, and definitely the Espinosa Habano and the Placencia Alma de Fuego. All right, it seemed like in 2019 they were shooting for a little bit of spice, right? Seems if I were to categorize the year, the tasters go for a little bit of spice and a little bit of pep in the cigar, right there. And then if you look at your 2020 list, right, I think they went for balance as opposed to like crazy strength and spice. And what I mean by that is like EP Carrillo, balanced stick. Obviously Fuente and Padron, balanced stick. La Mission, La Tellier, balanced stick. Punch short to punch, right? Yo Hoyo de Nicaragua. Even when I was going back, if you were to rewind this, you don't have to. If you were to rewind this, I'm like, balanced, it's balanced, it's balanced. Tastes good. You can notice a transition from going through the sticks, as opposed to if you look at the 2019 list, it was like, ooh, like which one kind of has like a little bit of pop or a little bit of sizzle or a little bit of a unique spice and whatnot. Wonder if it's the same panel, right? There too. You know, even if you get lower within the ranking, say 15 through 25, right? I mean, I only haven't had the Casa Turin and the La Vida Jester, but again, that Cosecha 146 by Placencia, balanced. Fonseca, My Father Petite Corona, balanced. Highclere Castle, balanced. Think I made my point? I certainly hope so. There you go. I will tell you that very excited with some of the things that are coming out here for Stogie Geeks in 2021, right? I swear, ever since I had a kid, I've lost track of the years. I just, you know, do that. But anyway, I'm starting my 4th year here at Stogie Geeks. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. Thank you to Paul and the staff, Johnny and Gustavo, for always making this happen, and for obviously driving the bus that we all like to be on. Super thank you to the Stogie Geeks listeners. I want to invite you Any comments on this list, certainly don't hesitate to email me at joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear if you've tried any of these sticks. If you want my opinion in a little bit more in depth, you know, I will certainly give it to you for sure. If you want to share anything, joeh@stogiegeeks.com. Remember, we keep the conversation going all week long. Visit us at stogiegeeks.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. There, I want to remind you that behind every cigar there's a story worth knowing. Get out there and shop local. I'm going to finish my cigar and drinks and probably have a couple more drinks. Stogie Geeks, we'll see you next time. Peace.